The age of the influencer is dying, but Meghan Markle doesn't really seem to know that. Is this why her latest business ventures are so scrutinized, and why she's resorted to limited supply sellout stunts? But Meghan's whole strategy is based on influencer methods from years ago. Today we're diving into Meghan's latest strategy, the age of the dying influencer, and what it may be able to teach you about positioning yourself online as a classically feminine woman with influence and more. Hey, it's Hannah. It's so good to be back with you. I've officially moved into my new home in Tennessee, and I have so much to share with you. Oh my goodness, thank you guys so much for your support over the last month or so. And I've been trying some different styles, but I'm gonna go back to what we know and love because clearly y'all want that. So I'm excited to share more with you about royals, about classical femininity, and celebrate classical femininity and trends, traditions, and lifestyles with you. So make sure to subscribe, like this video, and we have so many wonderful things coming, especially on the Swish magazine. Today, we're gonna be getting started and exploring some of these really big things that have happened over the last month with Meghan Markle. But to understand all of this, we need to go back a little bit and talk about influencers generally, because this is what Meghan really wants to be. The age of the influencer is actually dying. So let's go back to its birth. This is really where Meghan found her start. Although she was a TV actress on Suits, she really got a name for herself as much as she could by utilizing influencer strategies back in the early 2010s. The early 2010s was really the time of the blogger and the Instagram influencer. It started out in the early 2000s with bloggers when people really were starting to make a name for themselves beyond the traditional opportunities afforded by celebrities. You could actually be a self-starter. So blogs became an opportunity for people to speak for themselves, to create a name on their own. And this really changed around 2011 when YouTube and Instagram became an opportunity for that to go even further. Meghan utilizes herself with her outlet called The Tig, and it's rumored that she had some other blogs before this, but The Tig was really what made it big. The Tig was a platform where she used her expertise to share recipes, travel insights, lifestyle content, something very, very similar to what was kind of trendy at the time, and a very early version of something like Goop, which Gwyneth Paltrow does now. During this time, we saw the rise of YouTubers like Zoella, who were getting book deals, who were getting signed by big agencies simply because they had the opportunity because of the audience that they'd built themselves. And this was something that Meghan was trying to create for herself. Now, really, it was Instagram that made people take off and really lean into the aesthetics of certain personalities. And Meghan really found her footing there. Although she didn't really crack a huge following until she started dating Prince Harry, it was a great opportunity for her to share her life and build a small group of followers around her blog, The Tig, and strategically network between all these big brands that she wanted to be a part of. It was around 2016 when she met and then later married Prince Harry, and she was no longer allowed to have her own personal Instagram or run a brand around that. So it really froze in time for her around 2016. While Meghan had her short time period in the British royal family, things really started to change around 2018 to 2021 in the social media space when it came to influencers. No longer were brands really focused on simply aesthetics, but they actually began to move over to platforms like TikTok, where entertainment was a big part of it, where how-to videos and trends began to really take over. It was a way to get content a lot faster and for creators to connect with their audience a lot more intimately. During this time, the nature of parasocial relationships, content creation, and aesthetics really created a prime opportunity for marketing. However, this quickly got oversaturated after 2020 when brands really started leaning into that as the primary way to sell things. And audiences became really, really tired of it. So about 2 years ago in 2023, people began waking up to the overconsumption of social media. And so people really wanted something that is authentic, that is truly helpful, and not just being pushed on them. So bear with me, but There have been several trends over the last few years, like the underconsumption trend and the de-influencing trend, that have really taken hold because people truly just want to know creators themselves and not just be sold to constantly. So there's this new shift online overall, it's undeniable, where people are craving authenticity like never before. It's not just the brands and the aesthetics that can get you a long way. Now, enter Meghan Markle, January of 2025. Meghan, of course, famously re-entered the Instagram space in New Year's of this year, but it's been rumored and pretty confirmed that she was around online several years before that. Meghan released that video of her running on the beach, writing 2025 in the sand, but clearly she'd practiced this a few times. And since then, every single one of her posts has had something connected to it that is branded. Over the last few months of her being active on Instagram, we have seen constant launches. First, we had the announcement of her show. Then her show was pushed back. Then we had the announcement of the As Ever line. Then we had the announcement of her podcast. Then her show came out. Then we've had episodes of each show. Then the messed up launch of As Ever came out, and it was a disaster. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But there's lacking this element of authenticity and understanding the modern medium when Meghan Markle is posting on Instagram. Everything she posts seems to be totally merching. And that's legitimately what she's doing with the latest rollout of her Shop My page. Now you can go to Meghan Markle's Instagram and you can purchase everything that she loves from her Shop My page. Her wedding makeup, her kids' Legos, a white t-shirt that she seems to like for $100. You can find anything here, but Meghan always gets a cut. Not to mention she's using her Duchess of Sussex title to sell these things, which is a direct contrast to what the Queen asked her to do at the Sandringham Summit, which we've talked about quite a bit on this channel before. See, this is how influencers used to act. For the most part, successful people who wanted to become influencers became so by merching things, by declaring that they had taste that everyone else must follow. They had an aesthetic that was so different that everyone wanted to emulate it. It was something rare and different that they could actually monetize it and make enough money from it to have a living. Influencers before used to have to work really, really hard to establish their own corner of the internet in their own voice. And that is very different than the medium that we have today. Instead of relying on authenticity as modern influencers are doing and relating to their audience in a totally different way. We really see an example of this in the way that William and Catherine are on social media compared to Meghan Markle. And I usually hate to make that comparison, although I think it's a really great way to look at these two. William and Catherine have done a really excellent job of relating to the public in an authentic way that still preserves their identity and their own aesthetic without merching it. Instead, they're highlighting what other people are doing that is a fantastic effort, a charity organization, or something that's not about them, and yet it points it back to them. Again, we talk about this all the time. It's the elegance principle of subtraction. This is one of the things that's missing when you talk about Meghan Markle's social platform, and one of the reasons that her business is probably suffering and she's having to rely on these tropes of selling out quickly, which I'll talk about here momentarily. Celebrities today really have made their audience in their own right if they're successful. You don't see Victoria Beckham out there merching links to her children's rabbit Legos because she needs the revenue. She's actually establishing a brand and an identity that attracts people to her. Big brands. Think of Natalie Portman and Dior. She's not over there merching her white t-shirts. But you also see the first principle and the principle of sustainability lacking in Meghan Markle's approach to social media. She's lacking that symmetry. She's not rooted in the values of truth, goodness, and beauty, and she's not investing in timeless ventures that are going to leave a legacy. At least it's not a legacy that she would want. By the way, if you want to learn more about the 4 principles of elegance, if you don't really know what I'm talking about, click the link in the description. I have an ebook all about it and how to implement them for yourself. So make sure to click that link. It's totally free. I'd love to send it to you. I recently read a headline in my research for this article about how influencers are Gen Z telemarketers, and I thought that was the funniest way to position how far Meghan Markle has fallen in her ventures recently. You know, she was a princess in the United Kingdom. Yes, she was Princess Henry. She didn't have that title on her own, but she was a world famous woman who was revered for her class. Generally, for people who didn't really know the details, if they just looked at the aesthetics of her. But now, she's merching her things that she likes around her home or that she found on Amazon on her Shop My store. She is relegated to only creating a podcast, and she's doing a drop-shipped website as her business. And I'll be going into that at some point soon. See, Meghan doesn't need your sales. She lives in a $14 million mansion. She wears designer clothes, and maybe she's desperately running out of money, as I've talked about in a video in one of these, I'll link it here. Meghan has celebrity friends. She doesn't have anybody who is a big brand name that is endorsing her brand. She's not the face of Dior as much as she probably wants to be. Unlike smaller creators like me who actually get a huge smile on my face every single time that someone purchases something or somebody orders my magazine, it actually affects me. It actually puts food on my table. That's not how it is for Meghan. Meghan is utilizing these strategies of small creators because there really aren't any other options for her. For me, and other small creators, when you purchase something, it actually is going to help them keep running their business and pursuing their dreams. So thank you guys for watching this. Thank you so much for ordering my magazine. Thank you so much for purchasing from Ana Lucia Beltran Diamonds, who's one of my partners. I speak about her all the time because she is one of those small creators too. And it's people like us who actually benefit from these types of strategies, these types of business models. We don't have the connections that Meghan Markle has. What happens when you purchase from Meghan Markle? Well, she actually gets another trip to Barbados. She actually buys another designer handbag. Her whole foundation is a bit of a sham. She's getting money from the government to then repurpose to her friends' charities. None of this is something that actually is strategically building a business. And I'm going to be going over her podcast soon as a business owner myself to tell you what I think and what I guess I've learned from that. I did mention Ana Lucia Beltran Diamonds, and I have her link in the description. Mother's Day is coming up here very quickly, and if you want to support a small business that benefits both her and it benefits me and the work that I do here, it's an incredible, incredible outlet that designs beautiful jewelry. I'm wearing her designs. I wear these earrings practically every day. They truly are so beautiful. And she's designed these herself. She is a small business just like me, and her designs are incredible. And because of their nature, they are 100% diamonds, but they're made efficiently and sustainably. You can actually get them for a fraction of the price. Plus, 20% off with my code SWISH20, which is just so generous of Ana Lucia to share with me. And then you can get a free pair of diamond earrings this April when you purchase. So I would really encourage you to go and support the smaller brands. Don't be supporting people like Meghan Markle, because it truly does put food on the table for people who have these smaller brands with big dreams that aren't just relying on some feigned fanfare. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, for supporting Ana Lucia, and click the link in the description to take a look and shop around. It is really fun to do some online shopping, especially for Mother's Day. So if Meghan really is as famous as having 4 security vehicles blacked out, the whole shebang, just so she can go to the theater, while Harrison Ford can ride on the subway without any type of security and be perfectly fine. By the way, Harrison Ford is eons more famous, in my opinion, than Meghan Markle. Then if she really is that famous, then how do these blunders continue to happen? And how does Meghan not get up to date with the times if she's really trying to be a top-tier influencer? Well, we've known and tracked over the last year all the claims that have confirmed the Buckingham Palace bullying rumors. We had Vanity Fair, we've had other leaks come and confirm that Meghan loves to do things herself, and this is not something that she probably has people helping her with, and if she does, then she is definitely controlling the narrative. In her recent launch of As Ever, which was a complete disaster, the website was launched early. You can go find my video on my channel about that, where she accidentally shared a page that was not ready to go. She still has typos to this moment as I'm filming on her website, spelling things incorrectly. She sold products that actually didn't exist, and she had to go and grovel and apologize to the people who did purchase them. And she sold out very quickly, seemingly as if she had had an amazing sale, but actually they just switched the tabs from coming soon to sold out. With Netflix being her partner, as she says, you would expect something much, much more professional than this, but it seems that she has the negative Midas touch. Everything she touches never turns out well. And this, I believe, is part of the problem with not embracing classical femininity. We talk about that on this channel all the time. That's why I have this channel. And so I don't mean to berate on her, but this is a great example of what happens when you don't embrace the elements of classical femininity. If Meghan does want to have some success at being an influencer and she really wants to go all the way, she should go on TikTok. She should not make it about herself. She should not have constant brands that she's pitching, and she should embrace the lifestyle that she does have without her high and mighty attitude. But is that really the type of influencer that she wants to be? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, it's so good to be back with you. I love seeing your comments and hearing from you. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this video, and please do go support Ana Lucia Beltran Diamonds. You can find her link in the description. Just take a look. It's so beautiful. You're gonna love, love, love what she's designed. And also check out the Swish magazine. You can go to theswishmagazine.com for our spring edition. I'll see you guys in the next episode.